Monster RX 93.1, and hello everyone.
Hi guys.
Hello.
Good morning.
I
Oh
am
my
so
goodness.
excited.
Oh,
I
so
can't.
excited for this.
Beyond
Oh my gosh.
excited.
This is the queen.
You just don't know it, but my hands are really cold.
I can't. I'm always so
Oh my
nervous.
gosh.
I always get so good kind of stress. I guess this is like right before you. I don't know. It feels like a sports. Like I'm about to do like a sports competition thing. I don't know why.
Nag-vocalize
Yeah.
ka na ba,
My
Chico?
adrenaline. I mean, look at me now.
Biglang ganun.
Okay, fine,
Ano
fine.
yun?
Okay, go
I
ahead.
don't
Go
know.
ahead.
All right. So, without further ado, it is my absolute pleasure, no honor, to present our very, very, very special guest. We have Lea Salonga. Oh my God!
Oh my God.
Yes,
Oh my
I always
gosh.
feel like I'm not worthy to share a screen with Lea Salonga.
Right?
We should have changed our videos to like heart emojis, like all of us
Oh
with those
gosh,
heart eye
yeah.
emojis.
I'm sure
God.
people are freaking out. Hello.
Yeah. Sorry, I mean you're probably sick of people fawning over you, but you're going to have to get a little bit more today.
On we
So-
will. Whatever you
So how are
Thank
you, Leah? How's
Thank you.
everything? How's everything going with you?
Actually, okay. I guess if anything, this quarantine is forcing all of us to be resourceful and creative.
Mhm.
And yeah, with the things you have at home. I've been I dug into a stash of yarns. I've been crocheting. I've been knitting.
Oh,
wow.
Like my daughter, she draws, she illustrates, and so she's just been really busy with that and hanging out with her friends, playing video games and stuff. So I mean, all of us here in the house, we're all finding things to do, and of course, I get immersed in watching a streaming service on a random show. But I tend to gravitate towards like cartoons. I've been watching a lot of cartoons.
oh
Wow.
wow.
Oh, wow.
Really? Like,
Yeah.
like
What do
what?
you find
Oh,
for this?
like what do I
for this
watch?
season?
Like on
Yeah.
Netflix, I binge watched the entire 5th season of She-Ra and the Princesses of Power.
What?
Okay, wait,
Wow.
wait. I know it's like, yeah, it's you'd think, it's She-Ra, and if you're a kid of the 80s, that you have a distinct memory of what She-Ra is supposed to be. It's like She-Ra and He-Man, but if you're an LGBT ally, it's like this is the cartoon that everybody's waiting for. It's like you have to see this. I cannot
Mhm.
recommend She-Ra and the Princesses of Power enough. It's
Wait.
just so sad.
Oh.
It's satisfying. It got a Forbes magazine positive review. I'm like, why is Forbes
Wow.
magazine reviewing this? And when I read the review, I'm like, yes, I absolutely agree with everything. Because I had already seen it, and then it's basta. If you're a subscriber of Netflix,
I want to watch.
Okay, let's
then
check it out.
yes, you have to, and
Yeah.
it's not a hard binge to, if you have like 6 hours to spare.
Well, I mean, oh
I
God.
We all
mean,
have the
wow.
time.
Okay.
What's
We have
interesting is
time.
we were actually discussing one of this cartoons on Netflix at the moment, Avatar: The Last Airbender. The
I haven't seen
the
it. yet.
second series
Yeah.
has a lesbian avatar.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's quite interesting. It was in the 2013. It was shot in 2013, or they illustrated it in 2013. And during that time, it wasn't really big. The whole LGBT in mainstream media, especially in
Yeah.
cartoon. So
Yes.
watching it now, it would probably have been better if it had been released today as opposed to back then, because back then it didn't have
Yeah.
as good a reception as it probably would have had now, right? So it's interesting what they're doing to push this to the kids nowadays, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
LGBT
And it's
movement.
and it's not so much pushing, because it's like
Yeah.
you're pushing drugs or
Well,
something, but it's
Okay,
more
we're not
of
pushing it.
showing a world where there's going to be a generation of children. Of this, I am sure. There's going to be a generation of kids for whom seeing two dads or two moms is not even a thing. Where it's like, oh yeah, my classmate has two dads, or
It's normal.
yeah, my friend has two moms. Where it's part of normal, where it's not seen as abnormal, which would be a really fantastic, world to live in. I mean, there are people I know who are going to disagree with me completely, but it's like, well, you know what? This is not the world you want to live in. Fine, but I want to live in a world where that all that stuff doesn't matter, and it only matters if you're a good person and if you're teaching good values to your children.
True. And I think the rushers know that, this show is a very inclusive show.
Yeah.
This is like the RuPaul's Drag Race of Philippine radio.
Oh my god, show! I cannot with that show. That's another show. I cannot with RuPaul's Drag Race. It's the best. I end up either laughing, like everybody in my house can hear me when I'm watching that show because I'm screaming. I'm screaming at my TV. It's like oh my gosh, and the without spoilers, it's like the top the queens they have for like the final. It's for the finale. It's gonna be epic,
my gosh.
And they're so good, so good, so good. It's so good.
If you told me that, I think a lot of our listeners, if we told them that Lea Salonga watches Shira and the Princesses of Power. They would probably wouldn't have thought that that was a thing. What about music? What do you think will your fans be surprised that you're into? Something that's very atypical, or they might be shocked to find out you're into, whether it's a genre or an artist or a song. What do you think?
I don't know. I don't think anybody's going to be surprised. I think a lot of singers listen to just about everything anyway. Whether it's for research, whether it's for, this is an artist that such and such told me about, I should listen to them. Yeah, I mean, I'm not into Rage Against the Machine, anything like that. My husband is. And then I'm like, okay. But yeah, and then there's the Deftones. I thought there was an album cover. It's like, this looks interesting. And the calligraphy was beautiful. And then I think I stuck the CD into the player, and I'm like, oh my god, what is this? Yeah, I was like, doesn't match the album cover. Okay, but maybe that's the point. Maybe that's the point. Yeah, so there's things that I'm like, I might need a little warming up to, but I listen to mostly everything, so I don't think anything would be a surprise. I don't think. Yeah.
But
So
would you have
it's-
like a morning playlist, like when you listen or when you drink your coffee or tea?
Oh no. For the morning, sometimes I'll listen to podcasts. I found myself gravitating towards NPR. Like they have a coronavirus daily, which is like just about maybe 10 minutes long, if that, which is like a digest of certain podcasts of other programs they have on NPR that other listeners could listen to, and the voices are so calming.
Yes.
It's not
I like listening to NPR too.
Yeah, NPR
Do
is
you like
great.
ASMR as well?
My daughter does. She likes ASMR. That's a little too whispery naman for me. Like I fall asleep watching Forensic Files. That's the stuff I kind of fall asleep
Oh my
to.
gosh.
Yeah,
into
it's the
crime
the narrator. It's the narrator. The narrator
Yes.
just has this voice. If
Are you
I need to
into-
find out what else he does.
Are you into like crime and like mystery as well?
More, crime and suspense. I can't do horror. I can't.
Right.
Which is why I think I'm reluctant to kind of continue on with this show called Kingdom.
Mhm.
The
because it's like-
Korean one.
Nice.
Yeah, the Korean series called Kingdom. People are like, watch it, you have to watch it.
It's
I'm
so
like,
good.
I don't know. Because I don't like jump scares. As in, I hate things like that. But I do like suspense. I mean, I was great with Silence of the Lambs. It was interesting. And I liked Mindhunter. That was another good one.
Oh yes.
How about
my
Gone
God.
Girl?
Oh, yes. That was so
Right?
good.
Oh, I love Gone Girl.
Yes. Gone Girl was so good. So yeah, that kind of stuff where it's more of where it kind of messes with you a little bit psychologically,
Mhm.
rather than just gratuitous, scare fest. I'm kind of not into that. The Ring kind of turned me off from
Yeah.
the
Oh,
horror
yeah.
genre.
Oh,
I mean,
no.
when you
But
see
it was
this
the
thing
biggest
crawling out
thing.
of the TV, that was like, no, 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 I do not have my happy ending. It's like, no, this is
You know,
not what I
speaking
want.
speaking of COVID, congratulations on your amazing Facebook Live performance, and
Oh,
you know,
thank you.
and like
Yeah.
super, getting like a record amount of money in just like an hour and so on.
Yeah.
The kind of performance. Did you expect that kind of response? That was
No,
amazing.
I don't
That
think
was
anybody
amazing.
did. Yeah. I think I don't think any of us expected anything. That's why a lot of us were signing up en masse to be a part of it. So that even if, say, one artist was able to get say like 50 or even 100, or even 100, felt like it was so difficult to reach, to get that individual goal. So there were so many of us that signed up, so that at least there would be, I guess there would be like like safety in numbers kind of a thing, where the more of us sign up, the more money we'll be able to raise for this effort. And then when I saw my numbers going up, it was really, really fun to watch. And that was just like the donate button for one charity, just for PIA, which is Philippine International Aid. And then there's like, I don't even know if we've counted for that particular live stream, if we've counted anybody's donations to PayMaya or via Gcash. So it was crazy. It was so crazy. But Bayanihan Musikahan has been able to raise, did it hit over 70 million pesos now by now?
Wow.
Probably. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
And this is all of the artists, this is all of the efforts, this is all of the corporate sponsors, this is everyone that donated, like every single person that donated. It's like, if it's like, say, 70, maybe 65-70% of the population of the Philippines each donated 1 peso to this. That's how huge this effort turned out to be. And and it's true what they say. It's like there's no such thing as an amount that's too small, because it all adds up. And my gosh, it added up, and so many people have gotten help. A lot of frontliners got help, and even the Artists Welfare Project got some help out of it also. Because the live entertainment industry is, well, it's pretty much non-existent for this year. So there's a lot of people in this industry also that need a lot of help.
Oh yeah. Go
We
ahead.
were talking about a certain concert that was produced over the weekend. See, John Legend came out with a virtual reality show. So he shot it, and people can watch with their virtual glasses.
Oh my God!
Yeah, so that's amazing. I think that could be a great step forward for a lot of live performers, and for the theater,
it's like
even if you
being
think
in a
about
theater.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, because it's like being there. Oh my gosh! Yeah. Of course, everybody would then have to pay for the equipment.
yeah.
Yeah, there's that. I mean, there's Oculus. There's, I think, Sony VR. I don't know that the Xbox has anything like that yet. But yeah, if people can get the equipment, if people can shoot, theatrical productions, whether it's a musical or what, with that kind of thing in mind, then people can literally sit at home and watch their favorite shows as if they're like sitting in the theater. There has to be a way to figure out how to, monetize that also. Because I mean, all these dancers, singers, actors, crew people, directors, producers, choreographers, makeup artists, costume designers, they all have to get paid.
Exactly.
So if there's a way to figure out how to turn that into something where, for people at home, if they pay like $50 and if it's live, and if it's actually live, or at least filmed as live, then there might be something to it. So it's I think something that a lot of tech people and creatives need to think about. Yeah.
But I mean, at
That
least
might be
there's that
interesting.
effort,
But yeah.
right?
Yeah, at least
Yeah.
there's and technology is continuing to advance so quickly, and So you never know. That might be the theater of the future. But theater in and of itself, it's still such a collaborative art form. Marky knows this. I know this. I mean, we work with Atlantis, so much, and it's something that I think will come back, as in creating the form and getting together to make these things happen. It's what will the audience experience be? So that I think is what we all have to think about now.
It's one of the oldest art forms, and it's never going to die.
Yes.
As much as you think
No,
that
it's not.
It's never ever going to die. Live performance is, it's a different experience. It's something that it's different every single time you go on that stage and you perform. You create something new, even if it's pegged a certain way. There's always something new that'll happen, and it's always fun to work with all the weird things that happen on stage, like a missed cue or a missed line. Oh my gosh, those are so much fun to work
forgotten
with.
props, like
fallen props, right?
like you and your deck of cards. Apparently,
Oh
it's
my
a
gosh.
legend the story in Atlantis. It's like Marky and his deck of cards or something like that. I'm like, what? And apparently it was integral to the story, or
Jersey
it
boy.
had something to
Pick a
do with
card.
you. So it was like, oh my God, that poor man. Oh, that poor man.
because I had to do a trick, right, on stage.
Yeah.
It was like, if it goes wrong. And luckily I was with Noy Volante, who's, a card trick master.
Yes.
Yeah.
Noy
So
Volante.
I was also a little scared, because I was like, what if I do this wrong and I'm in front of
Oh my gosh.
card trick king, right?
Oh my gosh. He's ridiculous. One of the most, I don't think I could say this enough. He's definitely one of the most talented human beings ever.
Oh
And his versatility, his sense of humor, and his timing on stage. Oh my gosh, him and Sweeney Todd. It's like, you just never know what you're going to get when he starts to perform. And then he's also so kind. He also is one of the kindest human beings. And it's so if I could do every show, every like musical with him, I'd be very, very happy. It might kill Bobby Garcia, but it would make me very, very happy. Bobby would be like, you're giving me ulcers.
Rika and I watched Sweeney Todd together, and we were on the front. We were at the front row. We were just in awe.
Oh, why? Why did you decide to sit in the front row?
we wanted to take in, everything.
Everything.
The whole experience.
I
was amazing.
remember when I saw Lea after Sweeney Todd, I was like on the floor. I was like, what? You're not the same person that I saw on that stage. Oh my gosh.
Can I just say, Lea, for you, I took ng cast from Ortigas Center all the way to the theater just to make it. Because I literally took ng cast, and when I got there, like my butt was numb, and I was like, it's okay, it's all good. At least I'm gonna make it to the show.
You know what? One of the reasons why I also wanted to sit at the front is because I really wanted to see the makeup. And Sweeney Todd is like a kind of heavy makeup.
Yeah.
And because I'm passionate about theater makeup, and it was amazing just seeing it up close. I mean, the closest I could get.
We had a really great makeup crew that took care of us. Leslie Espinosa was our designer. And hair and makeup. She did both.
Oh wow, she did both.
She did both.
Wow.
And when we had Jet and I had JD Jasa to take care of the both of us exclusively. And then there was a whole other crew in the basement of Soler taking care of everybody else. And then when we all saw each other for the first time in full makeup, it was like, oh my God, this is such a and everybody had to like go up close to people just to see what the makeup artists did. And then there were those who were trying to replicate the looks on their own so that the makeup artist can also rest. And so it was just such a dream to be a part of that show. And the makeup really helps with the character you're playing, because it's so far removed from whoever any of us is. That the makeup helped to push us a little bit further. It was so much
costumes are
fun.
pretty awesome too. I wanted to get red
Rajo
Jordans
Laurel.
after watching.
Bravo.
Yeah, me also. I actually want those red Doc Martens. I think it's called Oxblood.
Oh, yeah.
That's the color.
Mhm.
Yeah, but the gold ones are actually it was a cream colored boot, spray painted gold, and so I think the crew had to spray paint those every so often just to maintain the shine on
And,
them.
well, I don't know if you heard, but Rahul Laurel has a parang fashion show coming out.
Yes, he does.
Oh,
All
I
on,
think
like,
it's
yeah,
because
live.
tomorrow's his birthday. Yeah, tomorrow is
Yeah.
his birthday.
So that's amazing.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
everyone is innovating. Everyone is trying to get to where they were before quarantine,
Yeah,
with
it's
a
hard.
different
It's
outlook. Right?
yeah, yeah.
You know,
and I mean, none of us can go out, and his profession is to design clothes to make women feel beautiful at their weddings or at formal events or whatever event. He does a lot of my clothes for when I do concerts. So it's like if I don't have any of these things to do, what happens also to people like him, to costume designers and fashion designers, when their clients have nowhere to go? Well, I guess we have to start creating places to go so that even they will have outlets for their own creativity and be able to design for people again. This is a tough time, and you think that one business is isolated. It's like, no, there are so many other like peripheral connected people, and it's like we are all in this boat together. So this is going to be an interesting time for everybody.
Actually, it's really nice that Instagram is doing that support local tag, wherein you just click on that Instagram story and everybody who tagged their, the business that they want to support, it's all there.
Yeah.
Right? It's really nice.
Yeah, it's great.
like,
it's yeah.
A couple of
Go ahead.
years ago, you went viral with the whole during an interview with the whole Totga thing. Remember that? So
oh my God!
what
Yeah.
about with Aga, right? So, but what
Yes.
about like in terms of projects? Was there something not necessarily limited to the projects that were actually offered to you, but in general? Let's cast the net wide. What's that Totga for you in terms of project that you wish you were able to do?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I really don't know. I guess I tend to treat something that I don't get or I don't get to be a part of as, oh well, it's one of those things that happens to everybody. I don't think there's anything like that. I try not to dwell on what could have been. I'd rather think about the good. I'd rather think of like the good memories of what was and what actually happened, rather than dwell on what could have been. It just feels so wasteful of one's energy, to kind of marinate in thoughts like that. I'd much rather think of, kung ano na yung nangyari na maganda that I got to be a part of, because that's concrete. That's concrete in my head.
And
Nice.
We'd rather marinate chicken, right?
with all the
Yes.
amazing
That's true.
with all the amazing shows on Broadway. I know it's dark at the moment, but do you have a dream role to play
I don't know now. I mean,
in the newer Broadway shows?
After Love It, okay. As far as the classic ones, it would probably be when I get older pa, and by then I think the quarantine will be over by then. Probably the lead in Gypsy. Yeah, that would be one.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, Bobby was kidding about it. It's like, you should do it already. I'm like, yeah, wait for another few years. Parang I don't feel like I'm right for it. So give me a few years pa. But it's nice, no? It's nice to be able to say that, oh, there's a role that I can shoot for in however many years, which is a nice thing to look forward to. So there's that. There's what else in the new as far as the newer shows, I'd like to do Persephone in Hades Town.
Oh my gosh, I was about to say
that would be
Hades Town is such a beautiful show.
It's such a beautiful show. I'm like, Yeah, and my daughter and I saw it together. She and I went last year before it swept all those Tonys. So she's like, Tito Bobby should do it. Tito Bobby should do Hades Town.
Really should.
Tito Bobby should do Hades Town. And it's such a great, it's like a fable on storytelling and how when stories are told over and over again, but you wish that the ending was different. So when you hope in that the next retelling that the story changes, but of course it doesn't. So it's heartbreaking and hopeful at the same time. And that company was so incredible when I got to see it. And it's nice having friends in shows. So it was more exciting because there were a couple of people there that I had worked with previously that I got to see and got to go, wee! I got to see them on stage, and it's so much fun. And it's like,
You watched
that's
Eva?
me. That's
You
me at a
watched
Broadway
Eva?
theater.
You watched
I
Eva?
saw it. It's so good. Hades
With
Town?
Eva?
Yeah, it was so,
You watched
Eva was
Eva?
Yeah.
Eurydice, and it's like,
Oh my gosh.
oh my god, she's so good. She was so
Oh, I love
good
this
in
one.
that.
It's like
so
the
good.
ultimate. I don't know. It's like the jazz New Orleans
Yes.
era mixed
Yes.
with Greek mythology. It's such a beautiful thing.
Oh, and it's not
Such-
a complicated set. I mean, it only gets complicated when
It
the
starts
whole
circling.
thing when the whole elevator goes down. But otherwise, there are so many ways to stage that will not even require it. I mean, if that show ever goes on tour, obviously they can't dig into the stage, so they're gonna have to find other creative ways to execute some of that, some of those, some of that, and then, but the music is so good. Anais Mitchell was so amazing, and everyone was. Oh my God! Yes, we should do that show here. That show
Oh my
should be
God.
here.
Is that like your same reaction, like the other way around, when you know that friends and family are in the audience and you're performing?
I get excited, I think, when someone that I admire is in the audience and I find out that they're in the audience. Like a bunch of them are friends now, so the effect is different. Now it's more heartwarming rather than starstruck and petrified. So like if I find out Bernadette Peters is in the audience, it's like, it doesn't matter how many times I've met her, it doesn't matter how many times I've seen her, it's Bernadette effing Peters, and I'm going to be starstruck and petrified. And if it's, there are people just like that. Patti LuPone's another one. It's I don't think I'll ever get over Patti LuPone being Patti LuPone. Because it's Patti LuPone. I mean, come on. It's
And,
gonna be,
and she doesn't mince
you're
her
over
words.
there. Yeah.
She's
and
very
just
opinionated.
and she's fun. And yeah, Nicole thinks of her in a different way because Steven Universe is one of the shows my daughter watches, and and Patti LuPone is the voice of Yellow Diamond. So I just have to say, babes, it's Yellow Diamond. And she's like, Patti LuPone, and then that's her reaction. So yeah. She was so good in Hollywood. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. I was about to say
Yes.
Hollywood.
She's so good in it.
I really, really enjoyed Hollywood. That was
Yeah.
Ryan
I mean,
Murphy.
there's parts of it where it's like, okay, but there's a lot of it where it's like, oh, I get it.
No, but
The idealized vision of Hollywood and what a lot of us want it to be. So now the real Hollywood has to catch up to the fake one.
Yeah, it's how
was
it
good.
should
I
have
really
looked
enjoyed it.
like, I guess.
Yeah.
During the filming. And it was, I don't know, it was great that they included so many different, things that they didn't get to include in the 1940s, 1950s.
Right. But there was an article that came out about it
African-American.
also, though. Yeah, there was an article that came out about it regarding also that particular Oscars ceremony, the ceremony.
Yes.
Because there was actually a movie, the real one that won, I think it was A Gentleman's Agreement. It wasn't going to be Meg, because Meg didn't actually exist. But there was a movie called Gentleman's Agreement, and there were actually the article was saying that there were actually films released that year that were also pushing other boundaries. Also, I think because it was after World War II, and it was, I think, pushing things about anti-Semitism. So there's also that. So when I find the link of the article, Marky, I'll send it to you.
Sige.
You can share it with everybody else. But it was like, oh, okay. So the point of the article was that if you're going to revise history, you have to be careful what you're revising only because you have to be mindful of other things that we're also pushing envelopes, and we're also pushing boundaries and moving things forward in other ways. So those things cannot also be ignored. So there's that. So it's it was an interesting other view of thinking. But yeah, as far as the acceptance of the LGBT community in like 1947, and people of color actually winning Oscars that long ago, it's an ideal, but obviously it's something that we can now aspire to.
Yeah, the
I'm
Asian
really
American
getting interested.
African-
I really want to watch it now.
Yeah,
And there's a
Yeah.
lot of eye
Like,
candy. It's just the eye candy. I mean, come on.
Ooh.
Sign me
Now
up.
I'm gonna.
let's just say there's an entire scene where there are disrobed individuals at a party.
Interesting.
Individuals. Yes.
At a party,
Many,
yes.
many
Many.
disrobed individuals at a party. Oh, yes.
Like it's a big thing now in the theater where like Ang Huling El Bimbo, music of Eraserhead, and then
Yes.
Mamma Mia, music of ABBA. What do you think about a musical based on your catalog?
No, I don't think so.
No,
Um,
why not?
I do. Well, no. The stuff I do, one, they've already come from very dramatic musicals, so it's like to pull all of that out and put them somewhere else. No. A lot. I mean, Resorts was also going to come out with also the hot dog musical, which I was actually really looking forward to. I think it would require the catalog of someone that really put out a lot of original music, and I'm not one of those people. Yeah, and I think that's kind of what it would require, because it would require reinvention, like Rock of Ages, which I think I saw. I think I saw it 3 times.
Yeah,
And
me
it was
too.
just so it was so good. It was
So
so
good.
good. 2 or 3 times. Sobra.
True.
But I think it would require it would just require like really creative people to turn the catalog into something so cohesive. And I don't know that I am one of those people whose catalog would command that kind of reinvention. I mean, I don't know. Maybe after I'm dead, somebody will figure it out. But I don't know, man. At this
I love it.
moment,
100% real.
No, but who would you want to? Whose catalog would you like to see as a musical? Maybe even for you to star in. Who knows?
I don't know. I mean, there are so many bands that are still creating music. I mean, Itchy Worms is one band. The Dawn, I think there was a musical that used their music, but it wasn't not in the way that El Bimbo turned out to be. River Maya, Bamboo. I mean,
Oh
wait,
yeah.
Bamboo the band or Bamboo the solo artist? I don't know. But yeah, there's but there is a lot. There are artists whose catalogs just eventually might be ripe for that kind of reinvention. So
Or maybe
What about
yeah.
some of the newer ones like Ben and Ben, Moira.
Right.
Also,
Yeah.
They have their songs are all storytelling works of art.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those could definitely go into musicals, I think.
oh, for
Like-
sure, yeah. I mean, like there's that Alanis Morissette musical. I think that just opened on Broadway. Jagged Little Pill.
Jagged
So-
Little Pill.
Yeah, so
Ooh, that'd
something
be
like
so
that.
awesome to watch.
Also,
Or like the
so-
Carol King musical also. That
Oh,
was lovely, right?
beautiful.
So
Oh,
cool.
so good.
Beautiful.
I saw it on Broadway, and then I also saw it here. And oh yeah, her catalog was just so ripe for it. But I think my favorite quote unquote jukebox musical, it might still be Jersey Boys, because it wasn't just about here's the other song and here's the song that we did, here's the song that it was really like so tightly woven into the storytelling that it, every song felt like a natural extension of a scene rather than a gratuitous display of this was our song in 19 Kopong Kopong and this is what we're doing and this is how we wrote it and these were, it didn't feel like a showcase of the songs. It really felt like a musical. It was a real absolutely, it was an absolutely original execution of already existing material. It was so well done. And it was so well done here. It was so good here.
It told the
My God,
story.
Marky was not Marky on that scene.
Oh gosh, Marky.
That was not. I'm like, who the hell? Oh my God, I know who it is, but it's not who I know it is. It was transformation, the accent, the posture, the body, everything. It was a complete 180 from what we all normally see.
Oh my gosh, I'm crying.
It was incredible. Why are you crying? Marky?
Coming from you, oh my gosh. It's just coming from your mouth. It makes me so kilig. I don't even know what to talk to say.
Oh my gosh. It was like
sometimes he gives us like snippets of the accent.
Oh my God, the four of you. Oh my God, that accent. And this is one of those, oh my God, Nyoy Volante. That was one of those.
Oh my God, Nyoy Volante.
Oh my God, Nyoy Volante.
Oh my God.
Ridiculous. He was just ridiculous. He is in any show he does. He's just, voila, I can't. He's probably woefully underrated, but he's incredible. He's just incredible. I mean, there's a reason why Bobby keeps hiring him. Because he's just that good. And even in rehearsal, he brings something into a rehearsal that's just, and then all of us just jaw on floor. He's ridiculous. He's ridiculous.
That's how we feel about you every single time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
One of my favorite moments of Lea was, oh my gosh, Fun Home, where you sat on that table and from absolutely nothing, no music, I don't know how you did it, you sang right on key with so much.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was one of those. Where did you get that note? Who is giving that note to her? Bobby was
no one.
I don't know how. Oh my God, you are.
I remember my seatmate from Fun
That
Home
might have been
when I watched
that might have been the only reason he hired me, because he knows I can do. Like, I remember when because to be able to pluck a note out of thin air.
Oh my gosh, I was crying. Super.
Fun Home.
When we watched it together, right, Hazel? Or no?
No, I watched it with Rafi Reyes, and I remember I had a cough, and like the whole show, I was just trying not to cough. I was like, no, because it was a very dramatic show, very quiet, a lot of quiet moments. So I was like, okay, hold it in, keep it together. I have to say.
My seatmate actually shared like his box of tissues with me and my mom during the
box
show.
Talaga,
yeah, may box siya ng tissue. As in,
I think that could have possibly been not his first time watching. Because if that's your first time, you're not normally prepared for it. So the fact that he had a box, this was not his first rodeo. It was he had already seen it before. Yeah, I mean when the people that would clean the house after each performance, there would be mountains of Kleenex in random rows because people were just crying. I mean, when you look at the subject matter, when you look at a description of Fun Home, it's you wouldn't think that it would be that kind of a show. Where it's about family dynamics, where it's about, someone who's also, where everybody is in their own way suffering in this dysfunctional family unit. I think when you hear the specific description, it's like a closeted gay father who keeps having multiple affairs, and then there's the long-suffering wife and the out and proud lesbian comic book illustrator. It's like, are people in Manila going to relate to this? And it turns out there were so many people that could relate. The long-suffering wife, the wives whose husbands have affairs. I mean, ayan na, that's already that's it. It's like, Manila will be able to definitely.
Doon pa lang tayo sa gay married men, marami nang tatamaan.
Well, and the thing is, okay, there is that, but yeah, you don't have to be married to a gay man to be able to relate to the show to understand that oh my God, I see myself in this person. Like if you were a child of such dysfunction, you'll see yourself in Allison and all of the stuff that she's going through. So I think it hit people in different ways. My mom she was there opening night. She could not hold still because Bobby's instruction to me for the show was, you play your mom. That's it. And so I'm like, I know exactly what to do.
I didn't
because
know
I lived
my gosh.
because I lived in that sort of dysfunction. I mean, it's no secret. So my mom she could not watch me because I think she knew exactly what I was channeling. So for her, it was very, very painful. Even me thinking about it, it gets me very emotional. But yeah, to sing Days and Days, I'm like, shoot, I have to sing this in front of my mother. How am I going to do this? Yeah, it was hard. It was very difficult.
Oh,
But yeah,
such a beautiful show. That was such a beautiful
it's
show.
such a beautiful show.
So powerful.
Oh,
It remained, and I heard, from all the chismes from the Atlantis people, that there
There's
were some
chismes?
people. There's always chismes. No, there were
oh
some
yes.
people
I
who
think I know
tried
which
to
one you're talking
leave.
about.
Like some
Yeah.
audience members who tried to leave, saying, "This is
Oh,
dare you not
oh,
tell
wait.
me."
Oh.
Oh,
No.
tell the story.
Here's what happens. So after the show, so I normally just escape. I just leave. We're so emotionally drained and spent. So we all just try to get out of the theater as quickly as we can. We just try to escape. Normally, a lot of us would do autographs very, very happily, but we were pigang-piga na kaming lahat. So it's like, that we have to go home. We have to go home. We can't deal with anything that's too overwhelming at this point. And so when I went into work, I think the next day, we got Jorel Balitbit, who's pretty much the madam of Atlantis Productions. Kasi madaming ginagawa. She was in the office setup, like right near the escalators. And so she's like, oh my God, did you hear about what happened? Like, what? What happened? What happened? There was a family that walked out. I'm like, why? Why would anyone walk out of this? It's not like they don't know what's coming. But clearly there was a family that had no idea what Fun Home was about. When you see the title, it's like Fun Home.
I thought it was fun.
And you see the artwork. It's like Scrabble tiles. It's like, okay. So
This looks fun.
So when there's a scene in it where Allison has her first sexual experience with Joan, her girlfriend. So you see Mickey Bradshaw and Yana Laurel making out on stage. And normally it elicits, laughter, and people are feeling a little uncomfortable until they see that, oh my God, I can actually relate to this person's the first sexual experience of someone while they're away from home in college. But I think a lot of people could relate to it. But there was a guy and his family stood up, walked out, and of course the office setup was still there. So this padre de familia was shouting in the lobby, "There are lesbians on stage!"
What?
What?
And then said, "We thought this was a Disney show." I'm like, oh my God. Just because it's called Fun Home, it does not mean it's gonna be a Disney show. Okay. So you guys didn't read the description on the
Yeah.
Ticket World
You know,
website.
Also, there's the
before
internet.
You bought your tickets. And there's Google, there's YouTube. There's gonna be description. It won a Tony on it by this time, and it's like, oh come on. It's like, really? So
in this day and age.
in this day and age. And in my head, I'm like, methinks the lady doth protest too much. So yeah, because I mean, if I don't know. I guess there are people who were just a little well, not a little. There were people who were very much offended. But this is what I mean by, you know, wanting a generation of people to see, you know, LGBT as not abnormal, as not wrong. And so with Bobby Garcia bringing shows in like that, it's showing audiences here that are normally very conservative and, you know, and perhaps close-minded, that no, these are human beings and you are going to find something to relate to, and it's going to surprise you just how much more you have in common with people that you would normally, you know, push out to the margins. It's you know, it's like it's radical to think about it like that, but he wasn't wrong, because if the mountains of tissue paper in, you know, in the rows at RCBC are any indication, it's like people really found something that resonated with them, even if at the outset you didn't think that something would.
You know what? I have to be honest. I think we really needed the tissue because I brought my mom to the show, and we went through that as a family, without the whole marriage thing, but like with my sister, and we went through that. And after that, I felt like I could talk to my mom after watching the show about our whole experience as a family, you know, coming out and everything. So it's wow. Why do I want to cry? Okay, stop. Okay, but yeah, that was my whole experience.
Yeah. No,
I'm
there
really
was one actually. There was a mom and son that went to the theater, and I think it was during Days and Days that they just both lost it. And then when the lights came back on, and the son turned to his mom and said, "Mom, you don't have to give away your days anymore." I was like, "Oh my God!" Yeah. So it was like, so that got me crying after I heard that, and I heard that like pretty much after it happened. Yeah.
Was it, you know,
gabundok yung tissue eh.
It's moments like that you know, it really sticks with you, right? There was a time in Next to Normal when this girl came up to me and said, can you be my real life Henry?
Oh.
Because okay, so
oh my God, that's another show. Oh my God, that show. Oh my God, I was so exhausted after watching Next to Normal. It was that's another one.
Her mother is suffering from bipolar disorder, and she saw so many things that she related to, and she just came up to me and she gave me a hug and she talked to me and told me, you know, it's great that in the future I can find someone that I can hang on to, you know. And this is what theater does. This is what it does. It brings all of this, you know, to the world, and it makes everyone, you know, it gives everyone something to believe in, and you can never take that magic away.
It's such a magical experience, because when it's one thing when you're seeing an experience like that in the movies, but the movies, kasi they feel so far removed because scenery changes and the atmosphere changes, but you know, it just feels so different and far away from you. But when you see people only a few feet away singing and going through all of this, you feel almost like you're pulled into everything, and that you're a part of what's happening. And it's almost like everybody's heartbeat in the house kind of synchronizes, and it's just, you know, one unit watching what's happening on stage. It's just magical. It's magical for me to watch, and it's so much fun when I'm the one on stage. It's like you know, it's an experience I wish that everybody could feel. It's to understand.
Yeah. While we're on the subject of being nervous, I'm sure you're aware that you kind of make everyone you meet for the first time a little bit nervous. I must admit, you know, you have that effect on people. But I'm just super curious. Have you ever felt that way when you met, like, I don't know, someone? Have you ever felt that way towards someone else? Like you kind of got
Julie Andrews
meeting Julie Andrews.
Oh my
Julie
God.
Andrews.
Wow.
I mean, I grew up watching The Sound of Music and just hearing her voice. So I had to do a recording of The King and I. Right after I left Miss Saigon, so I was flown to Los Angeles to do it. It was with the Hollywood Bowl Orchestra, and Julie Andrews was cast as Anna, and I was Tup Tim. So I actually got to meet her, and I'm like, oh my God, this is my childhood standing right in front of me. And she was always so nice, always so gracious, and always so professional. Yeah, like she's Mary Poppins and Maria. She's all those wonderful characters and beautiful, and she just radiates this. Yeah, it's like there's a light special always following her, like Lauchenko. It's like there's always this light that just seems to follow her, where it just gives her a soft glow everywhere she goes.
Oh, my God.
Just a lovely, lovely, lovely human being. And then I got to see her a couple more times after, because she was the host of this Hey Mr. Producer concert in London, which was a tribute to Cameron McIntosh, and I was in the show. So yeah, and there was this big diva dressing room where there's like 6 divas all in one room, and if you entered that room, it was like brain explosion. Wow. Like Elaine Page, and then I think Bernadette Peters, I think Julie Andrews might have been in that room, and it was ridiculous. It's just one of those ridiculous things. Yeah, just crazy.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You know what?
But yeah,
We wish we could keep you forever.
I know. I was just thinking, can we just not end
We
this?
can just
I know.
sit here, sit here and forget that we're radio DJs and just be like, can you just stay forever? But
Can you just
I know.
forever?
You see my face and like,
I know, and we're like, can we just add you to our Viber group where we talk about Drag Race like all the
I
time?
know, right? But you know what? This season, the reason we're doing this is because of this very unusual situation we're in, and you've got a lot of fans who look up to you. And do you have anything to say to them? I'm pretty sure, like, I don't know whether it's about this entire thing, something to look forward to, or anything that's swimming in your head right now. Do you have a message for all of your fans listening and or watching right now on Facebook Live?
oh goodness. What can I say? I was like, oh, it's just me now here. Okay. I think the only thing that I can say is it, and I know how difficult it's going to be to say this, but yes, we have to all be patient still. I mean, yes, many places in the country are moving towards modified ECQ, and hopefully we get to general community quarantine. I mean, this is still not a time to be complacent, and we all still have to be very careful and very vigilant, when we go out there, and not to rush to anything, just to keep ourselves and the people that we're quarantining with safe. I personally will probably keep myself in very strict quarantine until I feel it's safe to go back out there. But I know that there are a lot of people that have to, for reasons of economics, for reasons that they are essential workers in this crisis. And to all of you, please, please, please continue to be careful. We can't afford to lose any of you. To my fans that are listening to this is going to be a difficult time, and I know that it'll be a very long time before I see any of you in person, only because of the nature of my work, which is live entertainment. But kapit, we just all have to make virtual kapit with one another, and we will all weather this. Yeah, we are all gonna weather this. In the meantime, we find ways to be creative and resourceful and helpful, even to our little corners of the world, even if it's just with our families. And each of these efforts, joined together, will become something more significant. And even if we won't feel it, it actually will make a difference. So let's all find ways to stay sane, whatever that might mean. If it means singing in the shower, even if you're off key, even if that means,
I'll
you know,
definitely do
maybe
that.
finding time to read something. There are a lot of free resources online where nobody has to spend any money to get to. There are free bookstores, and YouTube has so much resource now where you get to see some of your favorite shows and artists online without spending a cent. You know, and even if it's just sitting in, you know, if you're quarantining with family, if you get to sit together every day and tell stories to one another, it's also a way to stay sane. Prayer and meditation is also another way to do it. Yeah, if you were ever intending to write or paint or knit or crochet or anything creative with the things you have at your disposal, you have all the time in the world to do it now. And I mean, Filipinos have been touted as some of the most talented and creative people in the world. So we can continue to keep proving that even in quarantine. I mean, I wore a Voltus 5 shirt for a reason today. Thank you to my friend Angela. Yeah, my friend Angela supplies me with all of my Voltus 5 t-shirts because the two of
Love
us are
it.
both just rabid fans. And
Yeah.
you know, it's there's a thing. I mean, there's a, and Voltron is the other one that I tend to geek out over. Because it's about people having to come together to create something much bigger and much stronger than what they can do individually. So I think it's a good metaphor. I mean, yes, it's Voltes 5. But it's a wonderful, for any of these robots that have to join together to form something else, form Voltron. It's a cartoon, it's a kiddie thing, but it's a good metaphor. I'm so glad they teach this to children. It's a good metaphor for, you know, people that are kind of disjointed and separate and divided to come together and create something bigger and more powerful.
Yes.
Totally agree. Yeah. So yes. So to everyone here at home, let's vote in and let's get out of this thing alive.
Mhm. And thank you to all the frontliners. Oh my
Thank you
goodness.
so
Yes.
much to the frontliners for
To all of
everything.
the essential workers, to everybody, even in groceries and stores and food service and restaurants and gas stations. Anybody that is considered essential, garbage collectors, most definitely. It's not just the medical professionals. Everybody who is out there risking their lives, thank you, so that the rest of us may be safe.
Oh.
So there you go. Thank you very much for joining us. We can't get over this.
I know.
Thank you. And
Thank you so much.
hopefully not the last.
Yes,
We'll
please.
bug
I don't
Marky
think so.
to, you know, to invite you again.
Yeah, Marky is like your what? Your guest relations officer. Yeah, si Marky yung GRO ng morning.
Yes. Oh my gosh. How did you know? Thank you so much. And
Thank
please be
you.
Thank you so much.
Please stay
Once
safe.
again,
welcome.
Once
Thank
again,
you.
we just had Lea
Bye.
Salonga.
Yay.
Oh
Oh my
my
gosh,
goodness.
that was amazing. Huge fan.
What just happened?
Marky daw GRO.
Kasi kinakabahan pa rin akong GRO. GRO.
Yeah.
Paano nyo nalaman? Ang galing.
Oh. You know,
Oh my
but
goodness.
that was such an epic guesting. And we're very excited because some of the guests that she talked about a while ago might be live next week. So
Woo!
watch
I'm so
out for
excited.
that.
The comment
Watch out
section was
for
going
that.
crazy the
It
whole
was.
time. So thank you
was.
so much, you guys, for all the nice words, and we're glad you enjoyed that interview as much as we did.
Chico's
Yeah, I know. Wait.
I don't know,
Where's Chico?
off.
Wala daw si Chico.
But yeah. Oh well.
Hindi, ito na
happened
ata siya.
Let's say
There.
goodbye.
Yan! Oh my goodness.
Yes.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
See you
Thank you.
tomorrow.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you to Miss Lea Salonga. Bye.